Testing, 1 2 1 2. What is going on, beautiful people? It's Thursday night. I am Lee Hammock, and welcome to Waving the Red Flag with your favorite self-aware narcissist, Lee Hammock. It is Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to another episode of Waving the Red Flag Show. First thing we're going to do is bring up my co-host / producer, Mr. Jessica Montez.
Hey, everybody. So tonight's topic is, why did you leave? Why did you leave your toxic relationship?
Why did you leave your toxic narcissistic relationship dynamic? First off, shout out to Amy Dance for becoming a channel member and whatnot. Also, thanks to everybody for joining from the YouTube show, from the Instagram, and also from TikTok. If y'all want to ask some questions, make sure to hop over to the YouTube channel so we can put it on the screen and whatnot. We will be doing a live Q&A at the end and whatnot as well, y'all. So, why did you leave your toxic relationship? We're going to have guests on tonight as well. So if y'all want to hop onto the chat and discuss how and why you left your toxic relationship, I'm going to put the link in the comment section in a few minutes. We can't do 20. We can't do 20 guests. So we're gonna have you on. We'll split it up. Everybody can come on and do like 5, 6, 7 minutes about your story, ask a few questions, and why you left to help other people out. Because you telling your story about why you left your toxic relationship dynamic can help other people. And I just tell people that's the difference. Like when you deal with narcissistic people, toxic people, there's victims, survivors, and thrivers. Victims, everybody starts off as a victim. Then you transition to a survivor, and then the difference between the survivor and the thriver, I feel like thrivers reach back and help other people. Thrivers reach back in. Survivors can do the same thing, but thrivers take it to the next level. So you can come on the show tonight, tell your story about how you left, why you left, what was your defining moment. I know, because I think everybody, when you're trying to leave a toxic relationship, you're looking for a defining moment, like one of those things where people are just like, you know what, this is it. Dr. Kerry McAvoy calls it a breaking the shelf moment. When you've had enough, like when you've put so much on the shelf finally snaps and there's no going back. A breaking the shelf moment happens like that. So when was your breaking the shelf moment? When did you have enough? Like when had you had enough in that space right there? Because a lot of people, are looking for those answers. I just tell people in these spaces, in these situations, everybody's answer is going to be different, y'all. I posted this question on Instagram, right? I posted on Instagram. I don't think I've ever got a post with that many comments on it. It had like the post on Instagram about why you left your toxic relationship. It had, why did you leave your toxic relationship? It has right now 3,586 comments. God damn. Y'all was chatting. I love it though. Y'all was chatting it up. Look, so right here, one of my friends told me you deserve better. Somebody said COVID. He showed up to my family vacation house demanding our child to go home with him. When I refused, he threatened my life. Gone. You see what I'm saying? I got strong, and truthfully, I wanted to live to see my grandchildren. If I hadn't left, I'd be dead, and he had fed me to the pigs and denied he ever knew me. Woo! That was dark. When I found his online dating profile, confronted him, and he lied to my face. Then he went to work like nothing happened. Y'all, when was your breaking the shelf moment? What made you want to leave in these relationship spaces right here? My man Chester said, when I found out she was a pathological liar. So no, that's enough. Mm-hmm. The lies build up. You get that shelf you got right there. I know this is a Nintendo Switch base. I know that. But, like, you put too much stuff on the shelf, like lie number 1, you know what I mean? Lie number 2, number 3, they just lying. 4, it's just like
starts to get heavy.
Yeah, it's starting to get heavy. You start to get heavy. Your hands shaking to stay in the toxicity. You get them. You arthritic from the toxicity and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That happens to y'all. Like seriously, that's part of it. When he kicked the door in because he said he kicked the door in because he said he loved me. That's wildness. So what was your breaking the shelf moment? So if y'all want to hop onto the live chat for a few minutes and chat about like why you left your toxic relationship. I mean, we can start with Jessica. Jessica, if you want to
sure.
get it keyed off. Why did you leave your toxic relationship? What was your breaking the shelf moment?
So I had like two breaking the shelf moments because I first made the step of just moving out of the house. So I was still planning on staying with him, but I just felt like everything felt really heavy. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I felt like I wasn't in an like I just felt like I just didn't know what was going to happen from moment to moment. I felt like everybody was miserable, and I had only technically lived with him for 4 months without my apartment. I lived with him longer with my apartment, like kind of on the side in case I wanted to move back to it. But I gave up my apartment and everything completely moved in. And 4 months later, I was just feeling like, no, like my gut was telling me something was off. I couldn't understand why things were happening the way they were. He was treating me like shit.
It's kind of scratchy a little bit. It sounds kind of like it's kind of jumbled up a little bit.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, I know you said 4 months, and then something happened.
Hey, yeah, my mic cord was a little messed up.
Okay, that's
So
Chris.
yeah, when he started treating me like shit, and it didn't make any sense because I didn't deserve it. I treated him like a king, like I cooked, cleaned, did everything for him, took care of him. And it didn't make sense to me why he was treating me like this. And I would ask him, "Why are you treating me like this?" So once I started being treated like shit. I was overwhelmed by all the things I was doing, lack of appreciation, my things were going missing. Just all these things were happening. I started to feel like I was crazy. I was going crazy. So I decided to leave the situation. So I moved out. But then the final breaking point was when, even though my gut was telling me he was cheating on me, something was off, I caught him cheating on me.
Mm,
So when I caught him cheating on me, that's when I knew that's when the like mask came off completely, because the way he treated me after I caught him cheating on me, I did not recognize this person. I was shocked by how cold and callous and like he just treated me like I was nothing. Like he hadn't even known, like we hadn't been in this relationship for almost 2 years, you know. So
mhm.
that's when it was over for me. And you know, my story is on the channel. If you when the mask came off for good, I think is what it's called, Lee.
Yeah,
If you want to see my story, but that was that was the final for me. But yeah, it was already starting when I lived there. It's just, you know, the bad feelings and all that. And then when I knew he was convincing me all the time, just trying to convince me that I was wrong about it, you know, like I was crazy or whatever. But
yep,
when I caught him cheating on me, when I saw it for myself and I saw everything, I knew I was right. There was no more doubt in myself, you know? So that's it. That
yeah.
was why I chose to leave. I was being lied to. I was being cheated on. I was being treated like shit. I was being, you know, taken for granted, taken advantage financially, taken advantage in all areas. So
Yeah,
I was
it happens
done.
though. 'Cause, like, so when you discovered him, I remember your video.
Mhm.
Her discovery is like on Ring doorbell. You can see him walk out and whole body language shift.
Mhm.
You know, because
Yeah.
once their mask actually comes off for good, they change up, and then you just don't know who. It's kind of like you don't recognize them anymore. Because I remember you showed me the video of y'all kissing when he was leaving your house, and then in the video when he walked up on you, I was like, that's a whole different person. His body language different.
It
You know.
was terrifying. I felt like I was like it was a stranger all of a sudden, and it felt I just had this terror feeling. Somebody who told me I was safe with him,
Mhm.
somebody who would always say like, "I got you, I got you." I heard that all the time, and you know, I was safe with him. And then that person I didn't even recognize at all. That same day, the same day, which is crazy if you watch the episode on the Ring camera. It's the same day. We're in love.
Same shirt and everything.
Yeah, it was hours apart, you know, and whew, that was rough. It was tough.
It was. You survived that though. So
Mhm.
shout out to you. Thank you for keying it all. So we do have our first person in the room. Where'd it go? I lost the tab. So we're gonna bring up Jess.
Yeah, we got Jess.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, can you see me?
Yeah, I
Yep.
can see you. Hey, how you doing?
Hi,
I'm
Jess.
good. I've actually my dogs are y'all be quiet. I've actually been wanting to tell my story. It's actually very similar to Jessica's.
Okay.
Um we were friends since high school and we kind of reunited on a dating app, and he had a 4-year-old little girl, and he was wanting to get custody of her because the mom was like an addict and supposedly dangerous. And I had already gone through like the whole custody battle thing. And so for 2 years we dated, and I went through the nastiest custody battle with him that I had ever Like, even the attorney was like, I'm busy, but this is so messed up. Like, I want to help. And it was just trial after trial after trial. And like towards the end, and he was a therapist, by the way.
Oh,
It's the same
so,
story.
same
Yeah.
thing. Same
Mine
thing.
was a
yeah.
psychiatrist.
So that was like, looking back, there were a lot of signs. Like he told on himself a lot. Like he didn't have a relationship with his mom. His parents were fighting for custody too. He said that his mom tried to have him diagnosed as a narcissist at 4 years old, and that he's overcompensated his entire life to try not to be what she labeled him as at a young age. And then, I just had a lot of compassion for this man. He seemed so broken. He'd been through so much. Like, he was just a sob story. But for the majority, there were a few things like, the silent treatments, getting mad because me and my son were like yelling at the end of a basketball game, things like that. Well, anyway, so the parents actually ended up coming in, and an ad litem ended up coming in and taking custody of the child for 7 days. This is where everything went bad. Before that, like, we were a good team. We were going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And in that 7 days, I think is when everything, like the mask started slipping, right? So we ended up getting the little girl back. But when she came back, like, he still wasn't satisfied. His behavior started changing. He started staying up all hours of the night. And this is when I started seeing the downfall. Well, he started disappearing. I've been with a narcissist before, but not what I think was a covert narcissist. So this was completely different. And so, I was like, what's going on? It's like a switch just went off. And so the ad litem had accused him on being on drugs. Well, I lived with him. I didn't ever see any drugs in the house. He was a drug therapist. That's what he did. He helped people stay sober. Mm-hmm. And so my grandma always taught me there's a little bit of truth in every rumor. So I started searching through his backpack because I had kids in the house. I had my own kids and my own situation. Mm-hmm. Never could find anything. And then my sister said, how about you just quit accepting the behavior? Left for 4 days, got my first ever Hoover. And he was begging for me to come back, realizing that what he had done and his actions, didn't admit to the drugs. He just admitted to his bad behavior. I hadn't caught him at this point yet. Mm-hmm. So I went back. 3 weeks, we were good. Thanksgiving weekend, he actually started I would wake up and he was gone. He'd show up like 3 hours later. Well, that Sunday morning after Thanksgiving, I caught him in the bathroom actually using drugs. Oh, hard drugs, like, the kind that keep you up all night. So
was he injecting it, or was he just?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I mean, for me, I knew he had a history with drugs. He'd been sober for about 10 years, but it was like, you're a drug counselor. Like, you help people. This is what you do for a living. So I thought he was staying grounded in it. Mm-hmm. I thought, the little things that would tell me he's a narcissist, I'm like, well, maybe he's working on himself, and he's in okay, so I'll get to the end of my story. So then I leave again, because that's just kind of there's no tolerance for that. I had to separate myself from the situation. And so I just packed a little bag, left, went to my mom's. No conversation of us actually breaking up. Of course, he raged when, he knew I was leaving and I caught him. He tried to tell me that you do this and you do that. And I'm like, I quit drinking 2 years ago. Like, I stayed true to my commitment. You didn't. Like, we're not doing this right now. And I didn't say a word this time. Like, I just kind of tapped on the counter, like, you just told me everything I needed to hear, and I left. Came back 2 days later to get my dogs. I hadn't gotten my dogs yet. All my stuff was still there. We moved in together. And this woman that we fought in custody court for 2 years, 2 years, that he wouldn't even meet at the police station by himself, was in our home. Oh. Went to get my dog, still had a key. Her takeout receipt was on the counter. I called him. I want you to tell me the truth. Don't lie to me. Has she been in our house? oh, now you want to communicate. Now you want to communicate. And I'm like, excuse me? And I'm like, this woman, it was in our house that you wouldn't even meet alone, seeing our whole world, our whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you're turning it into something it's not with your twisted delusions. She was here to help me with my daughter because you left, and that's all it is. And I was like, you expect me to believe that?
Yes.
So the moment that I leave the house, in 2 years, we've gone through this horrible custody battle, and you're right back with her. And he hung up on me.
So you had a 2-straw break too. So it was the drugs?
It was the drugs. It was the baby, the kid's mother. It was, I just think what I truly believe is I believe that he was fully aware that he was a narcissist, and he did cognitive behavioral therapy like on a daily, and he was helping people that he knew were like him. And I believe for a majority of our relationship, like, he was a great communicator. He was working on things. He was trying to be the version of himself that he truly wanted to be. But when the drugs came into play, it's like all judgment went out the window.
Yeah.
And for me, people are worried, like, you had so much love for him. What if he gets sober? What if he promises he'll be better? And you go back to that. You can't, my family, everybody saw it but me.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I would have to constantly live forever with, even if he didn't show any narcissistic tendencies ever, I would have to constantly also worry that he would relapse.
Yes.
Because that's whenever, he had like some things, but he would come back and apologize, and he would take accountability. But I would say for about 6 months was when I was searching and looking, and the behaviors had changed. And it was like, that's when, it was like everything just switched on me. And it's still hard for me, even though I can sit here and say all of this, and I know, but it's like, how could he? Like, how could he do this? Like, you knew what life was going to give you if you remained on this path, because you're experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you chose to go back to the drugs, despite the warnings, despite who you can be on them. And you were sober when you made that decision. And, I've heard that, like, I've read and I've watched videos, like, she was easier, she was going to accept his behavior. She was going to, she was going to let him act however he wanted. And I was not going to stand on that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it does happen where they will choose somebody that might, I wouldn't say necessarily easier, but it just fits them better at the moment. It's less work, I would just say, in that space right there, because you see a lot of people just like, oh, they went to somebody that's dumber. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't necessarily say dumber,
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I will say she was smart. She knew how to get away with stuff, so it wasn't that. And I also, it's like all this rumination and all these things that go through your head. Like, I do believe he loved his daughter, and the court system wasn't going to do away with this woman. Which, despite his actions in the end, he was not like that when I met him. And so it was crazy to me. Like, you've experienced what the consequences are going to be if you go back to that life.
Yeah. And
you could lose your daughter, and you did it anyway. So everything, to me, like, everything I knew about him was just like went down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's made me think about the things. He always would tell me there's this beast inside of me that I can't let release if I get to that point. Yeah. And I've been that person in the past. And he never got like aggressive with me or anything. His words were horrible. Some of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. It was, anytime I called him out on anything, it was like, well, you're just a miserable person and you make everybody miserable. And, here I am trying to hold everybody up, and I'm sinking, and it was just like that. Like, it got to be
the shelf we was talking about. It starts getting heavy.
Yes, and the walking on eggshells was the biggest thing. Like, I've never been afraid to tell somebody how much I spent at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you couldn't win for losing. It was like, one time I got in a fight over Pop-Tarts. There weren't any Pop-Tarts. And it's like, but then you complain that the grocery bill's too high. Well, you eat too much, but I could never say that, like, you snack.
It's
You eat it. It was,
exhausting.
everything was my fault.
Exhausting. It's
It
like,
also gets into that space that, like, when you're in a toxic relationship dynamic, nothing you say or do will ever be enough for that person. You know, it becomes a huge waste of time trying to explain yourself to someone who is not trying to listen to you. You know, who's not trying to listen to you, and who will never ever truly appreciate what you do for them and the sacrifices that you make. Because mindset wise, that narcissistic person is thinking like, you're with me, you're supposed to be making these sacrifices. These are like, you know, you are supposed to sacrifice this for me. We're a couple, we're a unit. Although I'm not going to do the same thing for you, I expect that from you, you know. So you know, in these relationship dynamics, you very rarely get, you know, the reciprocation that you might need and require to be in a happy, healthy relationship dynamic, you know.
Yes, and it's crazy how, like, once you get out of it, and I just tell that to everybody. For me, it's like everything is just it's like crystal clear. Like, even if you're not ready to admit it or not, like, oh, I fell for this, or what was I thinking? But there was the strongest intuition, this pull that I've ever felt, trying to say, Dean, something is wrong.
yes.
Yeah.
And like, on the subject of what what Lee was talking about, but one of the last arguments we got into, like the final straw, which everything kind of came to a head anyways, but for the little girl, I had a really hard time leaving. But our dryer broke, and I had spent the whole afternoon at the laundromat catching up on laundry, so he would have work clothes, so everybody would have clothes.
Yeah.
And I told him that, and I was like so proud of myself, you know, like I got this done despite working all day, despite, you know, cleaning the house this morning. Like, everyone's going to come home to a clean home and clean clothes.
Yep.
Well, he sends me a message at 5 o'clock and is like, how was your day? I was like, it was good. How about you? He's like, well, I'm just feeling really frustrated because I feel like every day when I get home, I spend 2 hours cleaning up after everything you do in the mornings.
So this was the final conversation?
This was like the final fight, like, other than the confrontation about the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was the one that just sent me over the edge in tears, like wanting to just throw stuff, right? Like, what in the world is wrong with this person?
Right.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, I get home and it's like, I would wake up in the morning, make his coffee, make his breakfast, steam his clothes, all he had to do was take a shower and get out of the door. Took his child to school, got her ready. And he wants to complain about the mess I left behind because I have 30 minutes to get myself ready for work every day.
Because that's stuff you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to like, you know, I was saying earlier, nothing, no matter what you do for that person, is never going to be enough. They always find fault in even your good deeds or your attempts at being a good, better person to them, you know, to try to cater to their needs, even though you're sacrificing your own and whatnot.
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming on, Jess, and sharing.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night. I love what you guys do. Y'all are awesome.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.
Yay.
Thanks.
Love that.
All right, next we have Megan. Pull Megan up. Hi, Megan.
I'm gonna try this different layout. Is this layout too different for y'all? Y'all fine with this layout? Is this cool?
This is fine. Let's try it out.
That's right. Just test it. Megan, what's going on, girl? How you doing?
Can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Yeah, she's muted. Yeah, you muted.
There we go.
There you
go.
Yeah. Okay.
So what was the final straw? What was the made you leave?
I was in the hospital with our third baby. I just had a C-section, and he was there for the birth, and that was it, and he left.
Oh.
And I remember laying there, just laying there, and I had this baby in my arms, this newborn, third baby, but alone, and it just, I don't know, it just clicked. I don't know, it was a light bulb moment. They talk about that. That was the moment for me. So it clicked, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is not right. This is not what I want for my life, for my kids' lives. There was abuse. There was the physical, the emotional, mental, all that goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
There was drugs involved. I had my suspicions that he had been cheating on me, but it wasn't confirmed until like months later after that moment after his birth. So
Is this your third baby with him?
Yeah.
And you, so
Yeah.
this was your third baby. He went and then left after you gave birth.
Well, I actually technically he left first. I want to say that, but I packed their clothes, and I packed up like a few toys, and I packed up a few things of mine, like my shirts and everything. I had made copies of all the papers, important things that I needed,
Yeah.
and left. So he didn't really have any suspicion of it, like because we had to leave, we had to escape. So that's what we did. So
Yeah.
yeah.
He's still actively messing with you too, though, right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So
Like
she's
last
doing
week, yeah.
also the
Definitely.
post-separation part of it as well,
Mhm.
because even though I think he might have left first, he wasn't anticipating on you leaving him alone. You know?
No. His
Because
family wasn't either. No.
yeah, that happens. They expect you to tolerate it. Like, no matter what I do, you're supposed to, stand by me and whatnot, and put
Yeah.
up with it and deal with it, regardless of
Mhm.
what you go through, and your sacrifice that you made for this person and
Yeah.
whatnot. Because
Yeah.
like they will try to, even if they leave you first, they expect you to just be hanging around waiting on them to come back to you.
Yeah.
They expect you to just like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna leave you in the hospital to go maybe see somebody else. Even though you just gave birth,
Yeah.
C-section.
The other person, though, God, she was old too. So
She's-
she was old. She was older. I said
Yeah.
old, but she was in her 60s. So
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
he likes them.
Yes.
Pretty, yeah.
He likes
It's good. It's gross. It is so gross.
How old is he?
He is 44.
Oh, he's 44. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, So
Yeah.
the older, some people have a thing for
Yeah.
older folks. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Just just depending on who
Definitely.
you are and whatnot. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
just an experience right there.
Yeah.
So what is an accumulation? So that was the final moment. Was some other moments leading up to that right there as well?
Yeah. I mean, like the physical abuse, it didn't get like that until like towards the end of everything.
Mhm.
I remember being 7 months pregnant and him just, I don't remember what the fight was about. Maybe it was about the drugs. I did find something in the car.
Oh,
But I think it was about that. And he had done something and he shoved me and I fell on the ground. I was 7 months pregnant. Yeah. So like he broke my glasses, he punched me in my face, everything. There's physical things about it that
yeah.
when I talk about it, it comes up, but I can't set a timeline of it. So
How long ago was this?
the kids and I left October 2021, but we are divorced. Like I changed my last name. He said that right before the divorce was finalized, or a couple of months before, he said, "I own you. You have my last name." And I was like, "I can take care of that. Don't worry about that." So I changed it back.
Shout out to you. So
Yeah.
October 2021. Is that where we first met
Yeah.
you?
I don't.
I've
No.
actually met her in real life. Like we've actually met a couple times.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't remember when I think it was around October. Where was it? I gotta see when we did that Virginia like little workshop. I forgot what it was, but it was
No, that was the next year. That was the
2022.
following year. Yeah, because I remember watching you guys and seeing the little Raleigh thing. I wanted to go to, but that didn't work out. I was going to bring all 3 kids, and I was like, "No, I can't do this. I can't handle this." So
okay, I was just curious. Like I said, I remember like that.
Yeah.
And what, so yeah, it's a struggle. So appreciate you coming on though and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Tried a couple weeks ago. You had to hop off.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But shout out to you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yay. I did that. Yeah, I'm messing with the layout. I just want to see how the layout is looking on here, y'all. So appreciate y'all. Bear with me. It's just a video.
we have a few comments too. People sharing their experiences. We can let's see.
I left because he strangled me for being caught cheating and then blame me for that happening and then threaten my life and the life of my mom. So, that's the shame that accumulates with narcissistic people when you catch them cheating or you catch them doing something horrible. It's pretty horrible. It's pretty bad. Like they want to rid themselves of that shame. I left because she got physical with me and won't own up to it. Blame me. I made her do it. Yeah, that happens right there all the time. Francis. I left my ex-husband because he physically assaulted me, left me bloody, and had zero remorse. He just kept yelling at me. He's still doing that type of stuff now. So yeah, even I will say this, y'all. I know the topic is why did you leave, but even if you do leave, it doesn't mean the abusive behaviors, the toxic behaviors will stop. You know, sometimes I would just being realistic. Sometimes the toxicity can actually get worse. You know what I mean? The toxicity can get worse. And somebody said you should say we instead of they. Why would I say we? This is not my story. I'm not talking about me. Like you should say we every time you talk about narcissists. No. They will get worse. I'm not getting worse. I just saw that comment pop up right there. Is this the same? Is this the Liz that's in this in the queue right now?
I don't know. We had a couple Liz's come in.
Oh,
so let's see. So we'll find out. Hey, Liz. Can you hear me?
Mute.
Oh yeah, you're on mute.
Was this me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that your
hey.
Is this your question,
No,
right? This not yours?
no, that's not mine.
Oh.
Oh. Well,
No, it's not.
well, you hear it now? What's going on?
So mine is kind of, I guess, not as bad as everyone. Oh gosh. Here we go.
So bad is subjective to the person experiencing it, you know. So it's just like somebody else's bad and your bad are going to be different, but you are the one experiencing it. So don't lessen what you went through because it's not somebody else's, you know.
I feel like it was recently where I kind of hit the point where I can't do this anymore. And it was something so minimum, like so small, and compared to the other things that this person put me through. And it was just an argument on how I had this person's, okay, so I'm gay. So I had her name under her real name, and then I put stop showing emotions. And she was accusing me of being on the phone with someone at 3 a.m. So she made me FaceTime her and screen share my phone. And when I screen share my phone, she seen that no one else had called me, but she seen the way that I had her name on my phone. And this was like 2 days before Valentine's Day, or the day before Valentine's Day, actually. And she went off on me talking about how I was a fake bitch because she's been so vulnerable with me the past couple of days, and I have her down as this stop showing emotions. So I was just being fake with her, and it just proceeded to a bunch of name calling. And I told her the reason why I have that is because I sometimes react based on my emotions and my reactions. And it's me stopping myself from texting her, or like texting her something negative, or texting her something that might start an argument.
Yeah.
And she just wasn't having any of it. She continued the argument until the next day. We had gone to go watch a movie, or planned to go watch a movie, and she's like, just send me the movie details. I don't want to ruin your day. And kept saying things like that. And I was like, you don't have to worry about the movies. Like, if you don't want to spend time with me, then that's fine. Just let me know and we can cancel this. And then she pretended like everything was okay. But when I picked her up, she was angry and she was yelling. And I had did this arrangement for her, and I gave it to her. And it's not even about the money that I spent. It's just I spent a lot of time like making it for her, and she just grabbed it and threw it in the back of the car. Like didn't look at it, nothing. And then
that was the final the breaking the shelf moment right there.
That made me think a lot. So
that was on the shelf. Put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Okay.
She then proceeded to tell me to take her to go. She was yelling at me the entire time. She told me to take her to the gas station. I took her to the gas station. She bought a beer, and she bought like a $5 teddy bear, or the $5 bear with the rose. I wouldn't have minded that, but she just threw it at me. She's like, here.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. So I put it to the side, and I just started crying. And she rolled her eyes, and she was like, here we go again. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, can't we just get through the night? And and that's it. Like, I just want to get through the night. Can we go watch this movie? I'll get you home, and then like this is it. She's like, so you're breaking up with me just because of this? Like, she's like, I didn't even want to fucking spend time. Sorry, I cuss. I was like, I didn't want to spend time with you, but here I am trying to make this work. And then I told her, I was like, if you didn't want to spend time with me, you should have said that. And then the next day she wanted me to pretend like none of that happened.
So there was the final moment right there that made you just decide to leave.
Yeah, I told her that I can't keep doing this to myself anymore. She doesn't realize how much she hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a small moment compared to the other ones that I've been through. I suffer from depression, and she told me one time to drink all the pills in the bottle so I can just die.
Oh,
And that wasn't the breaking point.
but
But it feels kind of silly that this was the breaking point.
I mean, sometimes it piles up though. You know, like you said it's like it was a small moment at the end, but when your shelf is full and just bent all the way down the middle, sometimes all it takes you add a little pebble to it and it just come crashing down. It's just like sometimes that's all it takes is that final little pebble. You just like, I'm gonna put this on up here, very like you playing like Jenga, or let me move this last little piece and everything just come tumbling down. That's what happens sometimes. Like it's not, it seems like a small moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's the accumulation of moments, that it adds up. If you're not handling issues and getting rid of stuff, you're just piling stuff on top. You're just piling it on top of each other. And then sooner or later, it's going to collapse, especially throwing the bear around and shit. And just like, trying to pretend like, I feel like I had to say this too. When people try to pretend like nothing happened the next day, that's because they know something happened. That's them admitting that they've done something. They know something went wrong. That's why they don't want to talk about it, because they know they did something wrong. I feel like I did nothing wrong. Then why can't we talk about it? Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's be chatty about it then.
I always wondered about that too, like why it would feel like the next day nothing even happened. And I'm like, oh, all right.
They're embarrassed or they're ashamed of how they behaved, how they acted, and they don't want to hear about it again. They don't want to talk about it again, because talking about it again kind of stirs up the shame. It's kind of like how things like settle at the bottom, like sediment. Kind of like you shake it up and then it just rises to the top again. So it's just like, I don't want to talk about it again. Let's let it all fall to the bottom.
This is pretty new then, Liz, right? Like, it's been like only a couple weeks since Valentine's Day. How long have you been away and no contact, if no contact? Liz? Oh, did I lose her?
I think she went no contact.
Oh, yeah, you're kind of cutting out. Okay, now we can hear you.
It hasn't been no contact. I had contact with her yesterday, and I was going to go have lunch with my friend, and I was talking to her, and I was like, oh, she's like, what are you doing? What are you going to eat? And I was like, oh, I'm going to have pizza with my friend because he's going out of town, and he just wants to have lunch before we go, and before he goes. And all she said was, That's what she said. She said, And then I got there, and I still had her on the phone, said hi to my friend, and I was like, hold on, can you hold on a second? I'm gonna order the pizza. And as I was ordering, my friend's like, oh, hey, I got your lashes. His daughter sells lashes, so I bought some. And she's like, what did he say? And I was like, oh, I bought lashes from his daughter. And she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna let you go. We can talk later.
So you're still in this. You're still kind of involved with him. Not it has or with her.
Yeah. So
it's not over yet. There isn't a final straw yet.
It's like you shelf broke and landed on another one. Like it's like
So I keep getting pulled back, but the last message I sent to her was, I need you to apologize for the way that you've been acting, and if you can't apologize and you can't see your actions, then that's it. And if she tries to call me and I ask her, why are you calling? If it's anything other than an apology, I tell her that we have nothing else to discuss.
So, but like in that space right there, if you're picking up, she still think you have something to discuss. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Any type of, like, when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, any communication, they think they're winning because you haven't cut them off. It's like, oh, as long as you're still communicating with me, I'm still winning. There's a victory there. You know, it's just like in this space, in order to fully heal, you have to leave her alone because like it sounds like you're trying to rebuild the shelf, like the shelf them broke, and you're just trying to find something to patch it up, like you're trying to put it back together. Like it's like you broke the glass is broke. You're trying to put the glass back together. You cutting yourself. You know, you're picking up the glass. You're gonna cut yourself. You're like, oh, there's nothing to talk about. Then why are you talking to me? Why are you picking up?
And
I
I
like
was thinking
that glass breaking idea is good because you imagine putting all the glass back together in the window. That's all, the shards of glass. It's still never going to be the same. You're never going to be able to look through the same,
Yeah, I'm like in here. I thought I was.
You're doing good. Don't be to say that. I can hear it in your voice. You're like, I thought I was doing better. No, you're doing good. I promise you. You know what I mean? It takes time. Like everybody's journey is going to be different. Now, eventually, you want to get there. You want to start taking the necessary steps in order to heal and be as strong as you possibly can. But like, if you keep beating yourself up, that's when you'll keep going back. I promise you. You just like, I thought I was doing good, so maybe I'm supposed to be with her. You see how your mind will start playing these games on you, and then you'll be like, maybe. Well, at least I feel good when I talk to her for a little while, and you start beating yourself up, and so it's kind of blinding yourself to what's actually going on again, and then you'll just like, let's have dinner. I'll buy you some lashes. I'll buy your daughter some lashes. I'll cut my own lashes off for you. Is that what you want? Is that what you want, Liz?
No. I'm not understanding why. Like, it's not even the moments that I do talk to her where it brings me like happiness. It's not even like that anymore. Like, I dread her ringtone. Like, I dread her notification. Like, because I'm like, what is it gonna be this time?
I remember that too at the beginning when I was, like when I moved out and we had still been together. But I remember feeling this relief when he wasn't around, and then when he was around, I was like happy again, like that he was there, but then feeling that that heavy thing. And then he would ask me to come over and I would make excuses not to go over because I started feeling sick about the thought of going over. And so I remember that feeling in the beginning. It's like this push pull where you were fighting yourself. And just know that your gut, what you're actually feeling, that feeling is the real one. When they start behaving in a way that makes you feel safe, but kind of again, it's not real.
Yeah.
A false sense of security.
Yeah.
That's the right one.
Yes. Screen door blew open. I was like, somebody know it on me. Y'all keep recording. Somebody keep the door. But shout out to you, Liz. Thanks for coming on here. Like,
I
seriously,
appreciate y'all.
don't beat yourself up. Healing is different. Like, I feel like, and also don't diminish what you're going through. I promise you, because when you start diminishing, like, it was a little small moment. No, it's small, but it's dense. Like, if you look at like space, for instance, the sun is bigger than a black hole, but the black hole is denser. The black hole is just it's packed in there. It's like a little, it's power pack. Like what's a fruit that's power pack? Like a little raisin or a cashew or something like that. It's got a lot of vitamins in it. Just go.
Maybe a pomegranate has all those little seeds.
Yeah. So don't lessen to what you're going through. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for coming.
Great night. Okay, so next we have Rhonda.
Kai, somebody said a Kai. Yeah, there you go. Appreciate it. So thanks. Yeah, I'm fruit ignorant. So so Rhonda, what's going on? Randa Panda.
Randa.
Yes, Randa. What's going on? How you doing today?
I'm fine. Can you hear me okay? I'm sitting in the car.
Oh no, you good. We can hear you. Perfect.
Okay, so we're talking about like the final straw, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, so I feel like that lady that's been going viral on TikTok with her 50 chapters of stories. I feel like I can do that, but I'll just do the final straw because it's been on and off for like 17 years dealing with the same guy. And it's been crazy. But the final straw was he would test me all the time. Everything was always a test. Like, what would you do if I, did this? And then he would mention things that
Oh, the
He would,
hypothetical.
he would mention things that I would never imagine thinking about, like, oh, you're just like the type of person that'll probably, leave me and go to a different state, and just say stuff, random stuff like that. And it's like, why would you think of me this way? I would never think like that, And towards the end, because he's my youngest child's father, so we was trying to make like a family, and towards the end it was like, let's move in together, da 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 da. And the last test he did was, he said that when we were in our last argument, I came back and I was like, well, let's just have a talk. I asked the infamous question, did you sleep with anybody while I was not with you? And he said yes. And he came up with this whole story of how it happened. And then when I kept bringing it up, like, well, I didn't sleep with anybody. So, you should be able to trust me. I take you back. I know we were on a break or whatever like that. So I forgive you for that. I could understand you have needs. That's what he always said. I have needs, so if I can't get it from you, what am I supposed to do? So during this break, when he gave me this whole story, and then I would mention it again with us trying to, communicate and talk about it, he was like, oh yeah, that whole story was a lie.
Oh,
And I'm like, wait a minute. So you did or you didn't? It was a lie. I just wanted to see what you would do. Like if I would retaliate or cheat back or something like that. And then it just got to the point to where I can't trust you. You're lying about it. You're telling the truth about it. I took you back. If you did cheat, what am I doing?
So confused.
So yeah,
Give me-
so like for the last 17, like that final straw, like I was crying. I said, I feel like if you lied, it would be worse because you're trying to test me and you're just going to say whatever. If you told the truth about you being with somebody and then I'm being stupid, like I'll take you back. But at the same time, it was like, you know what? I think I'm just the girl that just keeps running back to you because it's been a lot. And it's like, I don't want to do this roller coaster anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm always being accused of doing something and I have to explain that I'm not. And then you test me with something like this. It was terrible. It was really bad. And when I text him, because again, we have a kid together, when we were together, I took him off child support. I thought we was, going to be okay.
yeah.
So now that I feel like, he just gets what he wants, I'm just like, whatever. I'm not even about to do this anymore. Like with this back and forth and you always wanting more from me.
Yeah.
But when I ask you for something, it's like, oh, you want me to do something that's not me. I just want to go to work and be, chill. I'm an entrepreneur. So I have that mind state of, wanting to always do something, what can we do to make more money? And he doesn't like that. So it was always an argument about that. And it's like, I'm trying to do stuff to improve our lives and you're just making up these stories. I just couldn't deal with that anymore. So I
It
had
makes
to
me feel crazy. It
make me
makes
feel exactly. He was making me feel crazy. And
reality.
because we have a kid and everything, if I was to ask him for something now, she's a little bit older. She's 13, so she can talk for herself, But if I was to ask something, it's like he hates me, like no, or ask that other dude that you've been talking to. It's like, what are you talking about? Where is he? Cause like it was crazy. It was just crazy. And I couldn't take it anymore. And that was the last straw, that lie of playing with my emotions like that. It was, I didn't know what else he was lying about. It was always something.
But sometimes they play those games right there just to kind of, they do play that, like some narcissistic people will play the hypothetical game with you, but
Yeah.
that's sometimes because it's not really a hypothetical. They
Yeah.
might really be doing it, and then once they see how you're going to react, it's kind of like sending a risque text message, like I'm going to clap them cheeks. And you hit it,
Right.
and then you would laugh out loud behind it, just in case how you don't know how they're gonna react to it. So you put a laughing emoji. Just kidding, just gay. That's what that type of stuff they'll do to you right there. They will mess with your head to try to confuse you and keep you guessing, and also go ask the other dude for some money or whatever the ask is. They try to make it seem like you're always having somebody else because perhaps he has someone else.
Yeah, and like the way everything went down, because it wasn't long until he had, I guess, what you call a new supply. I'm learning all the new terminology. It was really quick because he got one already, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just busy working and all this other stuff. And it's really it makes me, I feel like with the way I was raised and the way my mother was, and then the way he is and the way my father was, it feels like he may not admit to being a narcissist, but I can say that maybe I can have some narcissistic traits because of what I've been through, observing how everybody else is treating me. Oh, I'll match energy. But then it's like I don't like what she was saying, like Jessica was saying, the second that it was over with, this whole entire relief, like it was like, oh my God, I don't have to worry about this anymore. I don't have to worry about what he's thinking. I go out and take pictures and have clients, and he's thinking, oh, who's you have, what are you doing out so late trying to take pictures for? Who is it? And it's like, I don't even want to tell you who it is, because if no matter what I say, you're going to be like, oh, you're talking to them. I followed you, Lee, for like a long time, for like a couple years. And there's another lady that I follow, and I admire her because she's a businesswoman, and he thought I was following her because I wanted to sleep with her, like stuff like that, like, oh, you only like her because you probably want to hit. I'm like, what? Like, I follow people for inspiration. I'm business oriented. Like, I need that through the internet because I put my stuff on the internet, so I need to see how I study the internet.
Yeah,
That was not his way of saying he wanted to hit.
Right. Like, what are you upset about? I think he was just mad I was giving my attention to the internet, and I would go live sometimes, and then it was like he's just watching to watch, and it was like I haven't been on live for almost a year because of that. So it really messed up the way I think about myself and the way I look, and because he has something to say about everything.
Yeah. There's no winning in that space right there. But but like with the mindset of it, as long as he's getting a reaction from it, he'll keep doing it. That's the goal. Like,
and that's what he used to say. He used to say, I love to walk into the room and change the energy. He would say that all the time. Like, okay, stop yelling, calm down.
Yeah, there's that. See, that's the mind game that show you he's doing it intentionally right there. So sometimes stuff to mess with you on purpose, just to mess with you on purpose.
Right.
Just because if you're reacting to me, in my mind, you still care.
Right. And the second I stopped, that's when he got angry. So it was like, okay.
When you stop, it's like, oh, you must have somebody else.
Yeah.
You must be hitting. You must have found that girl on Instagram. You must be hitting that.
It's like, right. It's like, what are you talking about?
Hope she was worth it. Hope she was worth giving your family up for.
Right.
I remember, Ryan Felipe, the famous actor.
Yeah.
He used to follow me on Instagram. He'd follow me, and we would talk every once in a while just because he was a fan of something I was working on, and we would, every once in a while he'd send a message about it or something, and I would get accused of sleeping with Ryan Felipe, and I'm like, you do realize he could have any woman in the world, right? This isn't happening. And he would check my Instagram and look through all my messages. I would let him do whatever he wanted. I had nothing to hide.
You must have deleted
everything.
Right? You must have deleted it before I got here because I was going to ask, didn't you? But so there's no winning that situation.
I had to remove him as a friend.
Yeah. So for everybody out there, there is like, if somebody is messing with you, mind games, and you know it, and it's like, I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. Just go with your gut, because I had to, and it took me too long to realize that this will never, ever, ever work again. So it's just like, you have to kind of, in a way, I'm grieving the relationship because he is my child's father, but she will see those traits on her own. I don't talk bad about him in front of her or nothing like that. It's just, that's her dad.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to. It just, plays itself the way out. Yeah. So, but thanks for coming on tonight, Randa, and sharing your story and whatnot.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy I talked to you. I'm a fan. Yay.
Hey,
have a good night.
You too.
You as well.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we still have a quite a full queue here. I don't know how many you want to get to tonight.
I don't know if Felicia, I don't know if hers
Yeah,
is not
looks
connected.
disconnected.
So we do a couple more.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, Kimberly. Oh, sorry. Hi, Kimberly. You got to unmute for us to hear.
Good. Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you?
What's going on?
Well, I thought I was well, and now I'm triggered, but I'm gonna, work through it. I just want to say really quick, and it's gonna be very challenging for me, obviously. But
So you first
started.
of all, you're a human being. So tears. Look, I don't cry a lot because lack of empathy and all the other good stuff. But
Right.
you feel free to cry. You just feel it. Enjoy your emotions.
And I have a lot of empathy, so I'll probably be crying with you.
There's a good possibility. So Lee, I found you, probably a year ago, and I remember just sharing this crap out of your. I would be in tears because I did 20 years of servitude, I say, in a dehumanizing relationship. Coming to the end, realizing that he was not only a narcissist, he was a narcissistic sociopath. And I remember listening to you and having so much clarity after the fact. I mean, I've been gone 8 years, and the clarity, the things you would say that I couldn't make sense of because I am not a narcissist. And I could never comprehend certain behaviors, things he would say, the things that he would do. And it just never made sense. And I remember listening to you in awe and being so grateful because of the clarity, just the clarity, because a narcissist will drive you insane if you allow it, and even if you don't allow it, even if you fight it off as hard as you can. And I'm the same with, I think it was Randa was saying that she has narcissistic tendencies now, as I do, because you have to manipulate the situation sometimes to keep yourself safe. There were so many nights that I thought that I would not make the next day. And he would torture me for hours. He would put our dresser up against the door in our bedroom and turn on the lights, almost like hazing, and music or the TV really loud, and just torture me, all kinds of things. And
going a frat, wasn't he? Just putting the flashing lights and stuff like that. You said trying to haze you?
Yeah, it was similar to hazing, through therapy and stuff and talking to people. Yeah, he would turn every light on in the room. And then he would turn the TV or the radio on really, really loud. And then sometimes he would sit in front of me, just depending on his mood, with a pillow or a knife or, some object, a candle holder. And, I'd be like, what are you going to do? Why do you have that? What are you saying? You think I'm going to hurt you? Are you accusing me? So I'm going to hurt you now. That's what I'm doing. Right. I'm like, so this is about, I know that the show is about, why did I leave? And I want to really express that there were so many whys, and there were so many times when I said, this is it, this is it, this is it. And at the end, the escalation was severe. It escalated to the point that it was just unbearable. It was unlivable. But for 20 years, I kept it a secret. I never told anybody about the behavior. So on top of me going through what I was going through, I was hiding it. Our children never saw it. We had 3 children. They never saw any of it. And until the end, when I couldn't no longer keep it. But, I walked away from him one time and he spit on me. And I was like, this is it. This is my why. This is it. I'm done. And then there were other things that he did to me, forcefully, I'll say it that way. And I thought, okay, this is it. I'm done. And I never could quite go. I never could quite leave. And then a year before I left was my first restraining order against him. And he destroyed our daughter's 18th birthday party, destroyed our home, destroyed the kids' rooms. And so I got a restraining order, and he tormented me until I couldn't take it. I could not take it anymore. And I came back. And then, like I said, so we got into a fight on Valentine's Day. And he accused me of hiding his suit so he couldn't go back out once we had come home. And I ended up in the corner of a room, and he was holding a folding chair. And I just remember thinking, even if he's not going to want to kill me, that he is going to unintentionally hurt me or kill me. Because I've kept thinking in my head, like, if he swings that chair, like, even at all, that I could not survive it. It's a metal folding chair.
Yeah.
But the absolute final straw was that he started with me one night. It was just me and my daughter at the house. She was 18, and I couldn't control him. And he was shoving me up against the wall, and accusing me, of course, accusatory. Who is he? What's his name? Just tell me what his name is. Tell me you love him. Just go ahead and tell me, and I'll deal with it. And she, of course, heard it, the commotion. And, he ended up, short version, attacking me in front of our daughter, which was the most horrendous experience that you can even imagine. That for 20 years, your daughter's 18 and she's never seen this man be violent with you or, be anything but, a little shitty on some days, basically. And now she's watching this man her father basically try to kill her mother. And she tried to get him off me. Of course, I'm her mother. And he turned on her, and he threw me down, and all I could see was, just him throwing punches. And I got up as quickly as I could. He always would take my phone, so I didn't have my phone. And luckily he missed her. I mean, he hit her on her shoulder, but I just looked at her and I said, just call the police. I can't. There's a point when, even if you wanted to, I used to say, I can't do this anymore with you. I can't. And then, I'd say, yeah, I could do a few more years, but I just didn't want to. And it's not easy to leave. It's not easy to walk away. There's nothing easy about healing. And just know that you trying to leave, it might not happen the first time around. Narcissists are very manipulative, and they can make you feel some type of way, even if you don't want to, but the reality is as hard as it is, and as scared as you are now, and as weak as you feel, the reality is you're not weak. The reality is that you're so strong because you're still there and you're surviving this life. And that same energy that it's taking you to survive is what will get you to the other side. And I just want everyone to know, like, don't give up. And understand that as hard as it is to live there, it may be that hard to leave it. But on that side of it, when you leave, it's worth it. Staying is not worth it, but leaving and walking through and going through, that ends up being worth it.
Right.
It ends up being worth it in the end. And that's all I really want to say, is that you can be scared and you can be afraid, but it's the courage that'll move you through it, because you're going to be those things, So I just want to tell you that I appreciate your platform, and I appreciate your transparency. And I'm glad that I was able to speak, and I'm grateful that you keep doing what you're doing, because there are still women that are, in hiding, if you will, and keeping our secrets so that we can keep ourselves safe. And I'm grateful, and I appreciate you.
No, thank you for coming on. I just that's a very impactful story, like I said, you just told, and it's like your real life experience and whatnot, and surviving and thriving by coming on here and sharing your story and whatnot. But you said something. You said you had a lot of whys, but I tell people it only takes one. It only takes one sometimes. It's kind of like the light bulb example when who was it? Thomas Edison said, "Well, I didn't fail at making a light bulb 1,000 times. I just found out 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. You know, you found the one particular reason that helped you stay gone. So that's the one that ended up mattering. You know, yeah, there's a lot of torturous like that. And sometimes when you look back on it, it's gonna be, I mean, you still will be healing, you know, because you look back on it, sometimes you can't believe what you went through. You're like, damn, how the hell and with it being so long, you be like, what the heck? Because you might be having memories now that you forgot. You might be driving down the street one day and see a church.
Yeah.
You know, it might come up to you, you know, in that space.
Well,
so healing is, you know, it's a journey.
The women talking where that was happening. I guess that's why I was triggered, because I was, you know, both women that were speaking said something, and at that moment I remembered something that I hadn't, that wasn't, you know, in the forefront of my memory. And I just was already like, I'm not going to be able to talk. But
you did it, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all, and I believe in the women who are listening and watching. I just want you to know that I believe in you. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. All right, we have 2 more guests. Wow. Thanks, Kim, for sharing. It's tough, you know, it's tough to wrap your head around it, and wow.
It is. That was a story. Like I said, it's just like, that's why I like people sharing their stories. It just makes it real for a lot of people. Like, y'all are going through something similar. You hear how she got out of it, how she survived, you know, and she, like you say, she still gets triggers 8 years later, you know. But I will say this: don't let the fact that she gets triggered 8 years later deter you from leaving. You know, I feel like the triggers, they're going to diminish over time. The severity of them dissipate over time. You know, so they're just like, well, I might as well, if I'm gonna be triggered 8 years later, I might as well stay. You know, no.
Yeah, they do get better. I promise. I know the triggers get better. All right, so we have Jessica. We have 2 more guests. Next is Jessica.
The third.
Hi. Hi, how are you guys? I'm so excited to finally speak to Mr. Hammock, or at least tell him my story. So I am a victim 2 times, 2 previous relationships. One when I was 16 and one just recently. Recently was 2 years, and I pray, and I've been praying every night since February 9th. I got rid of him. It was a difficult task within itself. I had to be vulnerable, and then I just became strong. But it wasn't without a fight. My son's PlayStation 4 was stolen. Jewelry was stolen. All this was happening one night. I was yelling out the window out of my building. I live in the city, in New York City, so I live in a building, and I was able to pick up the window and scream, "Help! Help! 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 Help!" Everybody usually minds their business, but I was screaming in each and every window, and finally somebody heard me. I kept opening the door to get him out, and he wouldn't leave. He would close the door behind me. Somehow he was able to, I got able to go to the front of the door. I got out my apartment. Cops were outside, and I explained the situation. They came upstairs. They were on their way upstairs, and the man was just leaving like nothing happened. I looked crazy in front of the police. I said, "That's him right there. That's him. That's him. That's him." They didn't do anything. They came upstairs. They saw the mess. Since then, I want to say that I pressed charges, or I want to press charges, but unfortunately, I want to just let it all go like nothing happened, because as I mentioned earlier, this is my second relationship in domestic violence with a narcissist. At age 16, I didn't know any better. I didn't know he was a narcissist until I started listening to you, Mr. Hammock. And I was like, wow, this ex-boyfriend of mine when I was 16 was a narcissist, and this guy also is a narcissist.
Yeah.
I'm such an empathic person. Like, I want to help these broken men. No, I can't. And I've come to realize that this guy, and you guys might be thinking I'm kind of crazy, to want to help somebody, but
No.
Listen, I can't do more work than they can.
Yeah.
I got this individual to go to counseling. I even got him to watch some of your videos, Mr. Hammock, and he was like, wow, wow, wow. Anyway, he started on Prozac. I don't know what happened. The light went off, and that's it. He just went crazy. This happened on February 9th, and he's been texting me, sending me messages via email, and I've been telling him I pressed charges on him, which I didn't because my first boyfriend,
Yeah.
he's also a narcissist, and he also has been coming around my home,
Now?
my window. Yes,
Oh,
now.
how,
Yes, now.
yeah, how
And
long
it's
date this the one from 16?
19. So I am 44, and my first
Mm.
boyfriend, I was 16, 1996. So more than 25 years ago. And the reason why he's come back again is because the two men know each other, and I didn't even know.
So he's like a flying monkey to your current ex coming around.
Yes, yes. I didn't even know they knew each other. And I was like somebody wants to say hi. Say hi.
Hey.
Okay.
So,
Hi.
So
I'll say this right here. I tell this to people. I posted this on my Facebook a long time ago. Like every time you're trying to fix a broken person, you end up with a broken heart. You know, because it's you give pieces of it. You're taking pieces of yourself, like trying to fix them, but nobody's fixing you. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, here's another piece of me right here. You know, but then who's fixing you? You know, who's taking care of you? Because a lot of times we start to sacrifice yourself and sacrifice your own mental, physical health sometimes to be there for somebody else, financial health. And I would say this because
right.
you say you send some of my videos, so he might be watching this. I would say this right here with the whole pressing of the charges. Do what you feel safe and comfortable doing, because I say this to people. Sometimes if you don't press charges, later on you'll regret it. You know, just like, damn, we got away with it. You know,
Mhm.
Right.
you might.
So that goes back to my first ex-boyfriend. I pressed charges on him when I was 16, 17 years old. And 25 years later, he comes back and he threatened me. And somehow my current boyfriend left the apartment door open.
What?
And the first narcissist got into my apartment and burglarized my apartment. He stole my son's PlayStation 4.
Oh wow.
So,
Some
between both of them, I've lost a lot.
somehow.
He, he's the one who
I was
who
being
actually
watched.
stole
I
everything.
was being watched.
No, I'm
My
saying it sounds like your most recent ex left the door open for him. He's like, "Hey, I'm leaving at 4:00."
Wow.
but that's what people are telling me. But the two hate each other.
Oh, really?
I don't get. Yeah, they hate each other. This goes back from like the 1990s. Like we all grew up in the same neighborhood, but I didn't know of my current boyfriend knowing him. I thought it was just like, oh, okay, well, we all lived in the same old neighborhood. They don't know each other. No, they knew each other, and they both had rivalry growing up, and I was caught in the middle.
So you're not sure if he's the one who broke in and stole everything. You think he might be
At
him?
this point, it doesn't matter because he's a homeless bum. He can't replace anything, and you know what? They both got away with what they got away with. I don't want nobody coming back for me in another 25 years.
So that's
The
what
first
you're
ex-boyfriend came back after 25 years. I don't want this second one coming back another 25 years. I
But
really don't. I'm
so
so over
just be
them.
careful with that, because like if you don't, then they feel like they have free access to come back not in 25 years, in 25 minutes, 25 days. They'll come back sooner. Yeah, I just be careful, of course, because sometimes you press charge on people, they just
How
go deep in.
and that's what people and this is why I say I don't want to go to the police, because these men at a heartbeat, they're just like, oh, this woman made me go through this. Let me, let me wait a few years and go back for her. Let me go, and make her life impossible. I'm I'm a single woman And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's
No,
hard. And sometimes I wish my brother was with me, living with me, my older brother, but he's, living his life.
yeah. I mean, so like I said, do what's best for you, but always just consider that, because like you want that protective mechanism at least sometimes, so it becomes at least a deterrent to not come back. If you're done with them, because in my mind sometimes it's like if I did something bad to you and you don't press charges on me, then I might come back. This is opens the door for me to come back in there. Just for consideration.
Yeah, I will try to consider it, but this time around, with this second individual, but the first individual, when I was 16 years old, I pressed charges on him. He did time in prison in Rikers Island. This was back in 1996, 1997. 25 years later, he comes back and he's watching me, burglarizing me. So I'm like stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Can
What do
you
I do now with the second one?
Can you
I-
call again
One-
and say he's stalking you now after all this about the first one? And
So-
then
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
can you call
You kind of broke up.
call the police about this first one stalking you again?
Yeah, so I went to family court. And I started a petition, and there was no proof of him stalking me. But he was sending me pictures on my cell phone. Somehow he was able to pay somebody some money to get my information, where I live, my cell phone number, and he was sending pictures of my door. He was sending me threatening messages, and I would show this to my lawyer, and he would not show up for court. And it was so hard to get him to come to court because they didn't even have an address for him.
Mm.
Somehow he knew more about me than I knew about him. I have not seen him in 25 years. And then I get a random text message. Oh, you dumb B. You put court papers on me. You think that I'm going to forget about what you did to me when you was young? I'm 44 years old. This happened when I was 16 years old. You still thinking about what I did?
He's been in jail this whole time?
No, he came out of jail, but apparently he's been thinking about what I done to him.
Oh, it's like, damn, he's been in jail that long?
No, of course not. Of course not. But he came out, he lives his life. 25 years later, he sees me with his rival enemy, and he wants to get back at me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds complicated.
Yeah, that's a little rough right there. Let's face it.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean,
Yep.
don't let this, if something's going on with the new guy, don't let this experience stop you from calling the police on him and, making things happen anyway, because it sounds dangerous in every area, in every direction. I don't know. I mean,
Being with a narcissist is totally dangerous. And this is why I listen to Mr. Hammock, and I get some encouragement from him and word of advice. I speak to my friends and my family, and nobody seems to understand what I'm going through. And I've lost friendships because of my situation, and because I'm such an empathic person. They're like, all you have to do is put your foot down and tell them to leave you alone. Not that simple sometimes.
But that comment that Chantel had, getting a ring door cam, I would recommend getting them.
Yes. So I'm in the process of getting that, because I did just break up with him on the 9th, and I've been strong, and I've been telling him that I've been going to court and stuff, and I ordered one through Walmart. That one failed. So I'm in the process of getting that doorbell camera. Absolutely.
That'll help with your evidence that you may need. For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us tonight. Like, seriously, just be safe and like.
Yes, I want to thank you for your inspiration in being strong and helping others as well.
No problem. Just pray over those charges. Just keep it in the back of your mind. Just think about it, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Just in case, you just never know, because like I said, it can become a deterrent right there.
Yeah, that sounds very scary.
Thanks for joining the channel memberships. I'm not trying to pronounce this as a foreign language. the membership, y'all. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Him and
Oh,
the Hippie Fucking
Healing,
Sucks
healing,
podcast.
yeah. Christina, thank y'all. Shout out to everybody for joining the channel membership tonight, y'all. Seriously. So yeah, we're gonna try to wrap this up really in the next few minutes.
Go one more with Felicia because she's been kind of trying to get back on, come back in and out. So we'll go one more tonight. Sorry, we'll get to everybody else another time.
Okay.
Hi, Felicia.
Hello.
What's up? How you doing?
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm okay. Thank you.
What made you leave the toxic relationship? What was the final?
The final was when I found out that he was being unfaithful. And I didn't know. I didn't know that he was a narcissist actually until I actually broke up with him. And then the mask really came off.
Mhm.
So yeah, what actually happened is that it was his birthday, and I something happened, and we had a discussion, and I decided to just walk back to him and wanted to say something, and yeah, I saw him like flirting with some random person on the street, just yeah, trying to actually like hook up with her, and it was really strange. And I caught him, and he was like yeah, I was just talking to her, and yeah, and it was really weird. So I wanted to address that, and like a few moments later, we walk on the street, and we would meet this other woman, and yeah, it turned out that he was having a relationship with her for almost like 6 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she was kind of she we met then on the street, and she was like, I'm trying to reach you all day, and he was like, yeah, my phone was off. And he showed the phone like it was off, and my battery was low.
Was she aware of you?
No, she wasn't. And I was also like, I'm sorry, but I didn't know. And it was so bad. She wasn't listening to me. She was walking on the street with her two children. And she actually wanted to fight me on the street. I was like, lady, I don't know. Let's, share. Huh?
Were they their children? Was that
No, it was all going so fast. I didn't think that it was his children were her children, and because when they met, they didn't even look. He didn't even look at the children. The children didn't even greet him. So I don't think so. And doing the math, I don't think that it's possible. I don't know. Everything is possible, but I don't think so. But it was really weird that she was trying to, instead of like talking to me about it, she was trying to attack me about it. And that's one thing that that's a no for me. I'm not gonna fight on the street for no no man. But that was the final straw. And actually, the thing was that he didn't say anything when it happened. Actually, he was ready to just walk away, and she was ready to just walk away, and it was like, don't you see me standing here? So it was a little bit of a strange situation. And because I opened my mouth and asked her, from okay, I'm his girlfriend, who are you? I found out. So yeah, after that all happened, I just walked away because I didn't want to have that confrontation on the street. I was like, no, that's beneath me. I walked away, and he kept on calling me. I ignored him, and later I picked up the phone because he had a few things still at my house, and met later and talked, and he denied everything. And he denied everything. He denied everything. He said to me that, yeah, it was his ex-girlfriend and he didn't have a relationship with her. And she hates me because I used to have a relationship with her. And he thought that he was making the situation better, but he was keep on talking and talking. And he was like, yeah, and she was mad at me because she had a child from me, but then I told her that she should get an abortion because I didn't want a child with her. And the more and more he started talking, I was like, what are you saying?
Hey, Felicia,
And
can I ask you a question?
yeah,
You saw the kids, right?
yeah.
How old were they?
I'm not good with
About.
about. I think that she was around like maybe 9 years old and he was maybe 6 or so.
Mm,
I think so, something like that.
okay.
Why?
Just curious. I was just trying to imagine these kids at this.
No, I actually felt very sorry for these kids because when they were like fighting and she didn't even watch her kids, I was like, who is this lady? I knew already that it was the mom, but and they were so polite. It was like, that's my mommy, and it was, oh yay, oh gee, these kids are being traumatized. Yeah, it was really sad. And the thing is, he couldn't, he couldn't like be honest. He couldn't apologize. And I was like, if you're really real about this, be honest and open about the people who you were talking to. So I was like, if you want to show me your phone, show me your WhatsApp, your contacts, if you aren't talking to this lady, just show me.
Mhm.
And I wasn't even thinking about, getting back together or something. But I was like, if you want to be honest, be honest. And he was like, I can't do that because that's my privacy. And I don't want you to see conversation with my mother and my son. I was like, I'm not interested in those conversations.
Yeah.
And it's more about being open and honest and transparent. But it was like he had
Never,
a
right?
I know, never. He had an excuse for everything. And if I see if I just look at the whole situation, I didn't know he was a narcissist.
Mhm.
And when I broke up with him, he was like on this really being like almost obsessing, calling so many times. Even if I blocked him, he would find another way, like texting. Then you see that somebody is calling and trying to call you. And yeah, he was really eh,
Hey,
at
hey,
the end.
question for you, Lee. With him having the ex that or the girlfriend who showed up or ex or whatever, and then still trying to talk Felicia into staying around. Is this like a cake and eat it too situation that's
Yeah,
happening?
you're trying to balance a lot of things in that situation right there. I always tell people like one person is not gonna be enough for a narcissist. It just no narcissistic person. It's not. It just doesn't work that way. Like you
Hmm.
can't make them fully happy on your own. And that's not me just saying that something is wrong with you. It's just the way it works. Like
Yes.
you just like
Yes.
And
a
I know
lot of.
you
Hmm.
like the final straw is the woman, wanting to fight you. But
No.
no, that a
Yeah.
crazy woman sometimes is crazy for a reason.
Manipulating me all the time, and the I didn't know about gaslighting. Never heard about it, but and all the lies. And then you really look at the relationship and you think like all the time he was trying to go so fast, and I was trying to just you know be honest and open, but always say these are my boundaries. And it was like boundaries were always like up for a discussion, and I was like, no, these are my boundaries. You just need to accept them, and instead of making me feel yeah, insecure in the relationship, you should try to make me feel more secure. Not only think about your needs, but also understanding
Yeah.
mine's. I understand yours, but just talk about boundaries. But I think that are normal to me, and also things like not keeping up promises. And what I didn't know, there was also another thing what I didn't know, is that he was trying to make me feel um, insecure, but I didn't know, because I think that he kind of underestimated me, because
Mhm.
he thought that I would chase him or something,
Mhm.
because there was a kind of a, you always have this kind of push and pull thing, but you don't really understand it when you go through it. When
Yeah.
you look at it at the end, you think, oh, that was it. But he was actually, uh, there was this incident where we was discussing like girlfriends and boyfriends, and I was like always open about things, and I was like, you had a life before me. I know if you are talking to people, that's normal that you have friends. So I was like, do you have like girlfriends you still uh, um, talk to or something? Do you know? And he was like, oh yeah, I have a friend, a few friends, and one friend was like he called her name, and I was like, oh, okay, but I'm not talking to her. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, that's good. But later on, I, yeah, but that wasn't even the red flag. The red flag was that it wasn't even a girlfriend. This woman would call, they would talk, and I found out that it was a sister I didn't know about.
Weird.
So
Well,
he was
it sounds like you were
actually,
lied to a lot.
yes, he was trying to make me feel like, that's what he said. Also, like, oh, you're a little bit jealous. That means that you love me. I was like, no, I'm not jealous. It's more like being open and honest in a relationship, but
Mm.
doesn't work for a narcissist, of course. But okay, but just being open and honest, and I'm always
Yeah,
asking
well, Lisa, I
questions.
know now, or unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I wanted to
Hmm.
glad that you have finally see the truth now and that you're getting over.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly, I didn't know about narcissism like this before. I knew about it, but I just dived into it, and I wanted to say, yeah, thank you for your channel, and it really helps me in my healing journey. And yeah, it's still a lot to process, but I hope you understand. English is not my first language, but yeah, thank you. I will keep on following and keep on learning. And the thing is, hoping that that's for everyone. That for the next time you just see the red flags and get out much easier and faster. Yeah, the red flags. Then yeah, that you don't that you don't have to yeah, deal with that anymore, and really cut people off that are no positive value into your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
as you're sharing that with us and whatnot as well. Like, so I just feel like, just stay safe on your healing journey. Like, if he keeps calling it, yeah, you might have to just keep blocking. It's like hacking through
I'm
people.
I'm blocking him, but he lives in the neighborhood, so he goes to the same grocery store, sometimes I just see him running by. One time he was just getting by and he was looking in my window. I was like, oh yay.
Welcome to my hell.
So yes, yes.
Watch out for those triggers. Just walk away. Don't let it. Try to stay strong. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Felicia.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So appreciate everybody coming on tonight, y'all. So next week we'll be back with our after hours live show and
Club
whatnot. Club Lee. We'll be back with the after hours live show and whatnot as well. So thank y'all for tuning into another episode, y'all. Appreciate everybody coming on, joining, and sharing your story. I hope people got some healing and some understanding as well. I appreciate it. Like, seriously. See y'all next week.
You guys have a good night.
Waving the red flag with your favorite